Hello students, welcome to this 14th lecture of the kinetic theory of the gases and the radiation. So till now we have discussed the entire chapter of this kinetic theory of the gases and the radiation. Now we have discussed the number of problems about that. Now we will see the next problem based on this chapter. Now students, this is the problem that we have to learn now. The problem is compare the rate of loss of heat from a metal sphere at 827 degrees Celsius with the rate of loss heat from the same sphere at 427 degrees Celsius if the temperature of the surrounding is 27 degrees Celsius. So students, this is what they have asked, that the rate of we have to compare the rate of loss of heat of the metal sphere at 827 degrees Celsius with the rate of loss of the heat from the same sphere at the 427 degrees Celsius. Means two temperatures they have given and we have to compare the rate of loss of heat and the temperature of the surrounding they have given the 27 degrees Celsius. So these are the things they have given in the problem. Now one by one we will just write the given things. So the given T1 is equal to 827 degrees Celsius. So this first absolute temperature will be converted into the Kelvin. Then the 827 plus 273 is equal to 1100 Kelvin, means 1100 Kelvin. So similarly we will take the second temperature also, that is the T2, 427 degrees Celsius. So 427 plus 273 is equal to 700 Kelvin. So and the temperature of the surrounding they have given 27 degrees Celsius. So 27 plus 273 is equal to 300 Kelvin. So this is how we have get T1, T2 and T0 in terms of Kelvin. Now students, we have to compare the rate of heat loss. Rate of heat loss means we have to compare the rate of heat loss. So first of all we need to calculate the rate of first heat loss when the temperature was 827 degrees Celsius or in Kelvin 1100 Kelvin with the temperature at the 427 degrees Celsius or in terms of Kelvin when the temperature was 700 Kelvin. So the formula for it is the rate of heat loss may be calculated as dq by dt is equal to E into sigma into A into bracket T1 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. Means that will be the difference between the temperature of that particular system or the particular metal sphere minus the temperature of the surrounding. We have to just make its subtraction. So the R1 is equal to dq by dt is equal to E into sigma into A into bracket T1 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. So similarly we will use the second rate. We will use the formula for the second rate. It is dq by dt is equal to E into sigma into A into bracket T2 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. So this is the rate, second rate we have to calculate. First rate, the rate of heat loss of that metal sphere at 820 degrees Celsius will be termed as R1, and the rate of heat loss of that same sphere at 427 degrees Celsius will be termed at the R2. So first of all we will just take its ratio. We have to compare, so we just need to take its ratio. So R1 upon R2 is equal to T1 upon T1 minus T0 raised to 4 upon T2 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. I will read once again. R1 upon R2 is equal to T1 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4 upon T2 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. So simply we will put the values 1100 raised to 4 minus 300 raised to 4 upon the 700 raised to 4 minus 300 raised to 4. So simply if you make the calculations, then you will find the values. R1 upon R2 is equal to 14,560 upon 2,320 is equal to 1. If you just divide that one, then you will get 182 divided by 29. So this will be the ratio. R1 raised to R2 is equal to 182 raised to 29. This is the ratio and this is the comparison that we have done when the same metal sphere was at the temperature of 827 degrees Celsius and when the temperature of the same metal sphere was at the 427 degrees Celsius. So this is how we have calculated the ratio. So for your better understanding, or for those students who have still not understood, we will just revise this problem one more time. So students, I will read the question. Compare the rate of loss of heat from a metal sphere at 827 degrees Celsius with the rate of heat loss from the same sphere at 427 degrees Celsius if the temperature of the surrounding is 27 degrees Celsius. So students, they have asked the rate of, we have to make the comparison of heat loss when the metal sphere was at the 827 degrees Celsius, and in the second case when the same metal sphere was kept at the temperature of 427 degrees Celsius, and at that time the temperature of the surrounding for both the cases is same, which is 27 degrees Celsius. So whenever we are just going to solve the problem, it is necessary to convert these temperatures into the Kelvin. So first of all, we will just convert these three of the temperature into the Kelvin by adding 273 degrees Celsius. So it will be get converted into the Kelvin. So the T1 is equal to 827 degrees Celsius is equal to 827 plus 273 is equal to 1100 Kelvin. So similarly, for the second temperature, T2 is equal to 427 degrees Celsius is equal to 427 plus 273 is equal to 700 Kelvin. And for the third, that is the atmosphere, that is the temperature of the surrounding, T0 is 27 degrees Celsius is equal to 27 plus 273 is equal to 300 Kelvin. So this is how we have converted the three of the temperature into the Kelvin. Now we will just calculate the rate of heat loss when the temperature of that sphere was at 827 degrees Celsius. That will be our first heat loss rate, and the second heat loss rate will be R2 when the same sphere was at the 427 degrees Celsius, means that was the rate at that temperature. So first of all, we will calculate the R1. dq by dt is equal to E into sigma into A into bracket T1 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. In the similar way, we will use the formula for the rate of heat loss when the temperature was 427 degrees Celsius. R2 is equal to dq by dt is equal to E into sigma into A into bracket T2 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. Now students, simply we will take the ratio of R1 by R1, means R1 by R2. So R1 upon R2 is equal to that entire term which are E into sigma into A will be automatically get cancelled. So the remaining terms will be T1 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4 upon T2 raised to 4 minus T0 raised to 4. Now simply we will put the values of T1, T0 and T2. Then we will get 1100 raised to 4 minus 300 raised to 4 upon 700 raised to 4 minus 300 raised to 4. So simply when you will make the calculations, then R1 by R2 is equal to 14,560 upon 2,320. So if we'll just make the division, then you will get the 182 divided by 29. So this is the ratio you will get. R1s to R2 is equal to 182 raised to 29. So this is the comparison. This is the comparison we have made in terms of ratio of R1s to R2. So now students, we will discuss some important terms with which are given in this chapter. Now student, the next term we will learn again is the law of equipartition of the energy. So this is the most important law that many times this is asked in the exam. So law of equipartition of energy. Now we have seen that the kinetic energy of a single molecule may be calculated as the Ke is equal to half into mvx square plus half mvy square plus half mvz square, Means this is the kinetic energy along the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. This is how we have calculated the total Ke of the particle, which is with respect to the three of these axes, x, y and z. Now students, for the gas at the temperature T, the average kinetic energy per molecule denoted as Ke, that is the mean of Ke, mean or the average Ke. Now this may be given as the mean Ke is equal to half into m, mean of half into m into Vx square plus mean of half into m Vy square plus mean of half into m Vz square. So this is how we will calculate the mean Ke, that is the average kinetic energy. Now we know that the mean energy per molecule is 3/2 kb into T. So this is, we have already derived the equation, that is there are the three degree of freedoms are there. That's why the mean energy per molecule is 3/2 kb into T. Now since there is no preferred direction x or y or z, that is mean into half m into Vx square is equal to mean of half into my square is equal to half mean of half into m Vz square will be equal to half kb into T. Now student, thus the mean energy associated with the every component of translational kinetic energy, which is quadratic in velocity component x, y and z direction, is half kb into T. Now therefore the total translational energy contribution of the molecules is 3/2 kb into T. So this is how we have derived the equation for the law of equipartition of the energy. Now after this we will discussing the next term of the chapter. Now students, we will learn about degree of freedom. Now we have learned that the molecule as a whole is the free move to one point to other in three-dimensional spaces, means let it be x, y or z. Now if it is restricted to move in a plane surface which is two-dimensional, then only two coordinates x and y will be sufficient to describe a location, and two components vx and vy will be described in motion in the plane. But if the molecule moves along a straight line, then only x coordinate and only one velocity component, that is velocity vx, will be sufficient to describe its location and the motion along a straight line. Means student, if we think about only a straight line, then as the x-axis will be horizontal, so we will be consider the x-axis, and its velocity component will be belongs to vx, and it will be sufficient to describe its location and the motion along the straight line. Now in the similar way, we say that the molecule is free to execute 3 to 1 dimensional translation motion in the above example that we have discussed. Now in other words, the molecule in this example 3 to 1 has degree of freedoms, means as the molecule will be moving along the x-axis, y-axis and the z-axis, so we can say it having a 3 degree of freedoms. Means in short, they are having 3 DOF, that is DOF, or you can say the 3 degree of motions, the degree of freedom. And the velocity component for each of the movement, for velocity component for each of that axis, or you can say velocity component for that x coordinate, y coordinate and z coordinate will be vx, vy and vz, as we have already discussed. Now we will see the definition for the degree of freedom. So as far as the definition of the degree of freedom is concerned, the degrees of freedom of a system are defined as the total number of coordinates or the independent quantities required to describe the position and the configuration of the system completely. I will repeat once again. Degree of freedom of a system are defined as the total number of coordinates, that is let it be x, y or z, or independent quantities required to describe the position of the configuration of the system completely. So this is the definition for the degree of freedom. Now based on this, the next few examples we are going to see. about this in this topic. Now student, this is what we have learned in this video. So the remaining terms of this chapter we will discuss in the next video. Thank you so much.